What's up, guys? How's it going? It is Matt here. So we're going to talk about two different types of night sights today. Now, if you guys have been following me for any period of time, you know I do like my night sights. I like the mix between having a light and having the night sights. So night sights for me is, it may be different for other people, but night sights to me are good for one thing. That is lining up your sights before you turn on a white light to identify your target. So if you are in a crappy situation and it's the middle of the night, someone's breaking into your house, whatever it is, it's low light, whatever it is, it allows you to line up your sights so you can then shine the light on it with your sight picture, sight alignment already lined up and identify the target. It's more important to identify the target before you shoot it than shoot it and try to identify it later. You know, we're going to be talking about two different types of sights. So the first sights we're going to be talking about are some of the most famous, which everyone loves. These pistols have both been cleared prior to this, are the Trijicon HD night sights with the orange front and the TruGlo Tritium Pro. Okay, so there you have the TruGlo Tritium Pro. These ones are specifically for the 1911. So there's pros and cons of each of these sights. Now, actually, truthfully, I really like the sight picture of both these. I really like having very sharp edges, and I like having the U-notch. If you notice, very sharp edges, very sharp edges, and they both have that U-notch that you can go into. I like the very dark back and the U-notch. It helps me line up the pictures very well. Having those sharp edges are really important when it comes to lining them up. I'm just trying to get them both in the camera on you, so I can't really do. Maybe I can. Let's see. Maybe there we go. There we go. How's that? So they both have that quality U-notch that I really like. Now, if you notice though, when you're taking a look at these ones, the Trijicons, the one, this one on the Glock over here, Mercer TruGlo, the Trijicons kind of have a triangular shape that leads to the sights, whereas the 1911, the TruGlos, actually have pretty much just squares, just standard, you know, 3-post sights. So we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of each one of these sights. So I like them both. I do like them both, but I do like one over the other. But some people are deciding what type of night sights they should actually put on their pistol. So I just want to help you guys out, give you a couple ideas, and you know, this is what, to me, you know, for me, this is the reasons why I choose these ones that are on there. Now, the great thing about the TruGlos, which are on my 1911 here, is they have this massive front sight. Huge front sight. Look at that. Let's see, it's close to camera. You could pick it up very well. It's just such a, it reminds me of like XS Big Dot, is how big that front sight is. That dot is just massive. And the little dots here, okay, they're small enough that your eyes aren't drawn to them, that your eyes are specifically focusing on the front sight tip, which is important because if you're pulling your pistol in a situation and it's like, you know, a bad situation, you're gonna pull your pistol, the first thing you're gonna be focusing on is the threat, and then you have to switch back to your front sight. Because of that, you won't be focusing on these ones because they just don't stand out as much as that one does. So your focus will immediately go to that one. So that's one big pro about the TruGlo Tritium Pros. Now, when it comes to the Tritium or Trijicon Night or HDs, that orange dot just freaking pops. It just stands out, especially if any light is hitting that whatsoever. It's bright as hell. Okay, that light, that is just bright as hell. Even when your eyes are focused on the actual target, because most of the time you're gonna be pulling a pistol, you're gonna be focusing on the target, and then you have to switch back to the front sight tip and focus on the front sight tip to get the good front sight alignment. So even when you're focusing on the target, I've been practicing dry fire practice, that orange just stands out even if it's not in focus. And you can tell you have a good sight picture, sight alignment just with a blurred, but you always want to transfer your focus to the front sight before you make the shot. But in a shitty situation like that, if I have to shoot really quickly, just where it is and the way how it stands out, I know I have good front sight picture, sight alignment. So these, big plus is I can absolutely pick up the target or the front sight very well. Now, when it comes to these, like I said, that also has that big front sight. Now, the problem is though, is because, you know, it's white, it's big, so it's easy to make out on the darker targets, but it doesn't stand out as much. So when you're focusing on the actual target itself, you don't see the dot in the actual, you know, it's out of focus. You don't fully see the dot. So you have to seriously go back. You have to confirm it anyway. You have to seriously go back and confirm the front sight just to be sure that it is perfectly lined up. Whereas the bright orange one just blows up. I mean, it's right in your vision, and you can absolutely see it, and you can actually make it out. And knowing, without even fully focusing on the front sight yet, you already already know you have a good front picture sight alignment. This one makes it a little harder to actually notice that out, but once you actually focus on it, it stands out like a sore thumb. So there's pros and cons with each one of these. So for the people that are just want to know or are trying to decide which type of sights they should choose, I'm gonna throw these two pictures up and I'm gonna compare them for you guys back to back, and I'll be giving the pros and cons of each one of them, and I'll talk specifically about them, and then I'll give the pros and cons of the other one. I'll specifically talk about them when you're looking at those pictures. So right here, this side you'll see the Trijicon HD night sights, and this side you'll see the TruGlo Tritium Pro. So here they are. So if you look at the Trijicon 8Ds, I put up my hat, the black hat that I'm wearing right now. I actually put it up on a wall on a nail, so you can actually see it. And if you take a look at the picture, just ask yourself which front sight tip stands out the most. Is it the orange one or is it the white one? Now, another big deal about this is, remember what I said in the very beginning, is the Trijicon, they actually kind of triangle off to the actual sight, whereas the TruGlo has kind of a square and it goes onto it. For some reason, I don't know if it's just me, my eyes, whatever it is, when you're looking at the Trijicon HD night sights, for some reason, I get such a better front sight picture sight alignment with it. I think that triangle and those really sharp edges with that very black, dark, the rear sight is very blacked out, a little bit more blacked out than TruGlo itself. Is for some reason, it just helps me get that front sight picture sight alignment very quickly. I just pick it up very quickly. It's almost like arrow saying point here, shoot here. Whereas the TruGlo, however, it is a damn good sight picture sight alignment, and every single time I line up those sights, I freaking nail the target. But those, it just takes me it takes a little quicker to actually get it just right and get it lined up just right. But if you notice, both of them have very sharp edges, very sharp edges, and that's a big deal when you're actually choosing a sight picture and sight alignment. Both have very sharp edges. So take another look at them again and just go back and forth and figure out which one would probably work best for you. So I know you guys want to know how they handle at night too, so the difference between them at night. So I'm going to do another picture collage for you guys. So here on the right, you're going to see the Trijicon HDs. That's going to be over here. And on the left, you're going to see the TruGlo Tritium Pro. So in 3, 2, 1, there you have it. So if you take a look at these different sight pictures, it's not the best to notice, but I couldn't give a full darkness shot because my camera just doesn't focus very well when doing full darkness. But over here, the Trijicon, the HDs, all right, the Trigicon's over here. What they, for some reason, is the front sight is just about as bright as the rear sight, so you can't really decipher the difference in the difference between the front and the back. You know, it's kind of hard to pick up the front sight a little bit better. You know, it's kind of like similar night sights. You know, they're pretty much all the same. You just got to line up 3 dots and there you go. Whereas the ones on the left here, the TruGlo Tritium Pros, the front sight actually glows brighter than the rear sights, and it's a little bit bigger than the rear sights too. And because of that, what happens is you can pick up the front sight a lot better with a TruGlo Tritium Pro. But if you also notice though, in the low light situation over here, the Trijicon HDs, that red, orangish, reddish dot that's on there stands out more at night than the white does of the actual TruGlos. So there's pros and cons of both of them. Now we'll come back to my ugly face. So the pros and cons are pretty simple when it comes to low light or nighttime. The Trijicons will stand out longer. The actual main front sight picture will stand out longer. But when it gets dark, it doesn't glow as brightly as the TruGlos. And the TruGlos, the front sight glows brighter than the rear, so you're going to be able to pick it up a lot quicker. So we're going to be talking about, you know, different types of sights in general. You know, what type of sights would you rather have? Would you have fiber optic? Would you have metal sights? Would you have plastic sights? Would you have blacked out sights, blacked out rear, front, you know, front? That all comes down to personal preference. In the end, it comes down to personal preference. Now, for a defensive shooter like me, I'm not into competition shooting. I'm into reactive defensive shooting. I like solid metal sights, because if I have to do one-hand manipulations, my shoulder is still recovering right now. If I have to do one-handed manipulations, the sights are durable. I can rack them on edges. Like if I'm around the corner, I could put it up to the corner and I could rack the sights on it and they won't have any issues whatsoever to it. I can rack it on pretty much anything and there won't be an issue. The same thing goes with these ones. They are solid metal with very sharp ledges. If I'm on a corner, I could simply rack them on something if I have one arm down, like right now I'm injured, or rack them on the belt, which makes it very easy for one-handed manipulations. Now, Fiber optic sights, however, are awesome because for some reason, fiber optic sights, as soon as light hits them, they just pop. I mean, you cannot miss them. They just glow. They literally glow in the daylight. My biggest problem with fiber optic sights is you can hit the target really well with it. My revolver actually has fiber optic sights on it. But you could hit the target very well with it. But if you're training hard with it and you're rough with it, most fiber optic sights don't actually have protection around them and they easily break. The ones on my revolver are broke. One of the sides broke on them, so they come in and out. That's why I'm not bringing it out for you guys to see. Whereas the metal sights will just keep going and going and going. And they are just heavy duty and they will get the job done and they will not break. Now, there are some sights out there that are kind of a cool mix between the two, like TruGlo Pro, okay? TFX Pro. They're long fiber optic sights encased with metal and they have tritium inside of them. So they glow during the day and glow during the night. They are great, however, the fiber optics are still exposed. And if you're usually shooting for defense and for reactive shooting, sometimes tough, rough stuff happens to your firearms. From experience, in your bad situation, crap happens to your stuff at the worst possible time. And they are still exposed and very easy to break. However, if they do break, you still have the outline of the front sight and the rear sights to actually aim in on. It just takes away from the color. So you have to decide what type of sights you want. Now there's a lot of competition people out there that like a really bright front sight or fiber optic or whatever with a completely blacked out rear sight, because of the blacked out rear sight, all their focus goes right to the front sight, and that can help in the long run to speed and going quickly. But I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen a stopwatch in a firefight. So for me, it's about slow, smooth, moves as fast. Now you can't be a snail because you'll be dead, but you can't be a freaking, going Mach 3 because you'll miss very quickly. You'll miss very, very quickly and end up getting hit. What you need to be is the good in between. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Steady, smooth, hit the target. The more you hit the target quicker, you hit the target quicker when you actually have good fundamentals, you have good trigger control, and you hit the target. Whereas if you're squeezing the trigger as much as you can, you're slapping the trigger, you're throwing rounds, and even within 3 yards, you can miss the target. I've seen people at 7 yards shooting the ground when they're shooting their pistols because they're in such a rush to pull that trigger just right. Whereas if they simply just went out there and just simply focused on that front sight tip and the fundamentals, and I'm not talking boom, but actually getting into that, with the training and practice, it helps speed it up a little bit. But having that solid fundamentals, so when you squeeze the trigger, it hits the target, because hitting the target first is faster than missing it 10 to 15 times. So just throwing that one out there. Anyway, so once again, here are the two pictures of the sight. So you guys be the judge. Which one would you rather have on your pistol? Me personally, I like them both. But when it comes to, from what I've been seeing, I really like the Trijicon HD night sights. For me, that front orange just pops up and that triangular back just pops up. There you have it, guys. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe. I really hope this helped you guys out in deciding what type of night sights you have. I would highly recommend you get night sights on your pistol. Go check me out on Patreon. If you like this content, you actually help support this channel. And don't forget, guys, it is our responsibility to take care of each other and protect each other. And another note, guys, if you look next to my page, you'll see this little bell here. That's kind of like this thing called the notification button. So if you click on that notification button, anytime I release a video or go live for my live videos, which I go live every Tuesday and Friday night, Tuesday, Friday night, I had to think for a second there, then you'll get alerted to, hey, Matt's going live. So before you leave, go to my page, click that bell button, like, share, and subscribe. All right, so I will see you tomorrow. Peace.